an airstrike in Qatar. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Wednesday, September 10th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. The Israeli military carried out an airstrike yesterday on the villa of a senior Hamas leader in Qatar's capital, Doha. It was an attempt to assassinate much of the Palestinian militant group's political leadership. But Hamas said the attack failed to kill any of its senior figures. Qatar is a key intermediary in talks between Hamas and Israel to reach a ceasefire in Gaza and to free Israeli hostages. At the time of the attack, Hamas was considering a ceasefire proposal recently put forward by the Trump administration. But Israel's strike has thrown those diplomatic efforts into turmoil. President Donald Trump condemned the attack on a U.S. ally. Qatar hosts the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. Trump said he did not greenlight the strike.
I'll be giving a full statement tomorrow, but I would tell you this. I was very unhappy about it. Very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
Qatari officials accused Israel of trying to sabotage the ceasefire talks. Over nearly 2 years of its war in Gaza, Israel has carried out strikes on 5 countries, in addition to the Palestinian territory. The National Guard is collecting public assessments on its D.C. mission, and they're not favorable. That's number 2. President Trump has said the activation of more than 2,300 National Guard troops in the nation's capital was necessary to reduce crime. But data maintained by the D.C. police indicates that a decline in crime was underway long before Trump declared an emergency in August. And it appears that many members of the public are far from convinced that the National Guard deployment was necessary. Internal documents reviewed by the Post show the National Guard is measuring public sentiment about the federal takeover. They revealed that the mission is seen as driving a wedge between citizens and the military, and that it has sparked a sense of shame among some veterans. The documents show with rare candor how domestic missions rooted in politics risk damaging Americans' trust in the military. Number 3. Jeffrey Epstein's birthday book has sparked a debate over President Trump's signature. This week, a House committee released a partially redacted book put together for the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in 2003. One page had a suggestive picture and note reportedly drawn and signed by Trump back when he and Epstein were friends. But Trump denies that he created the page and says it is not his signature. Democrats say it plainly is. Here's White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt repeating the party line.
The president did not write this letter, he did not sign this letter, and that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to.
The Wall Street Journal first reported on the existence of the letter. To try and settle the debate, the Post reviewed more than a dozen versions of Trump's signature over the years. Several of them bear some resemblance to the one that appears in Epstein's book. That signature reads only Donald. And it's distinct from how he signed more formal documents that included his full name. But he often used only his first name in more informal correspondence. Several forensic analysts who reviewed the signatures said they could not determine if it was Trump's signature. Number 4. Poland said it shot down Russian drones that violated its airspace. Poland's military said this morning that the drones had been attacking targets in Ukraine, and that the military shot down some that were deemed potential threats. At least 2 airports in Poland were temporarily closed. The incident was an unprecedented violation of Polish airspace. Poland is a member of the NATO military alliance. It shares a border with Russia and hosts around 10,000 U.S. troops. inflation canceled out gains in household income in 2024. That's number 5. According to the census, median household income last year reached $83,730. That was a slight increase from 2023. But inflation was also on the rise, and that increased the prices of all kinds of everyday goods during that period. So Americans didn't necessarily feel better off. And that increase in household income wasn't consistent. The richest 10% of households saw their income rise, while women and Black people lost ground. The census findings might help explain why many Americans have felt unhappy with the economy and financially squeezed by price hikes on housing, groceries, childcare, and other everyday costs. Number 6. The Atlantic hurricane season is eerily quiet. This bit of September is typically the busiest time for hurricanes in the Atlantic, but the ocean is currently free of tropical depressions, storms, and hurricanes. And the National Hurricane Center doesn't predict any tropical cyclone activity in the next 7 days. So what's going on? There's a possible explanation that's kind of unexpected: warm water. Subtropical oceans across the planet have surged to record levels of warmth. But tropical oceans have cooled. That has lessened the difference in temperatures between them, and that can lead to calm. But we're not in the clear yet. Hurricane season doesn't end until November 30th. And at number 7, Apple unveiled the iPhone 17 and a thin new iPhone Air. Yesterday was like Christmas for Apple superfans. The company revealed its latest phones alongside an upgraded pair of AirPods Pro with a heart tracker and a major update to its smartwatches. One of its new offerings is a very skinny phone, the iPhone Air. Here's how Apple made its pitch for the $999 phone.
At 5.6 millimeters, it's the thinnest iPhone we've ever made. And it's also exceptionally light.
This sleek new design, however, means compromise. There's just one 48-megapixel main camera around the back, and battery life remains a question. Apple says it should last all day. As for the iPhone 17, our tech columnist isn't that impressed. He said the new phone already feels about 2 years old, particularly because of its AI features. He said Google's latest Pixel smartphone handled everyday tasks the new iPhone still can't. Alright, you're all caught up.